Hi, Professor Dan Anderson here, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be demonstrating the 8 Modern Arnis Anyos in the manner in which I teach them. And so this is in response to, I saw a post the other day where somebody's going, are there any DVDs or videos out there of the empty hand Modern Arnis Anyos? Because, the person wanted to train them and like that. And so I thought, well, what the heck, I've put out DVDs on these before, but I'll do just a little Facebook tutorial on them. And a couple of things, as opposed to, let's say, Shotokan Karate or Taekwondo or Goju-Ryu and so forth, the Modern Arnis Anyos essentially are templates. And as Professor Remy taught across the boards in terms of all sorts of different karate stylists, Taekwondo stylists, Kempo stylists, and that sort of thing, he didn't specify a whole lot about this stance has to be thus and such, or this move has to be done in thus and such manner. Instead, he taught it as the art within your art. So what you'll get is you'll get Kempo people doing a slightly different flavor than Taekwondo people or Japanese Shotokan people of the same Anyos. So the templates are the same, but from different stylistic backgrounds, they'll look a little bit different. Now, the other thing is that from region to region, he taught them slightly differently. I've seen where at the end of, let's say, one Anyo, which maybe calls for a punch, I'll see several punches, or I've even seen it where with Anyo number 1 or Anyo Isa, where the person ended off, instead of the high block, there would be the high block and then bang, bang, a couple of punches there. So there will be regional differences as well, but these are the Anyos templates that he taught me. Now, one last thing is that within each template, there are certain actions that I do because of a certain reason. And so there will be modifications in that way. Probably the most notable modification would be the 7, where you've got the upper guard here, and he would teach it this way, and then bang with a side kick. I opt out more for the original Okinawan version of the move, which would be closer to here, and with a hammer fist, and bang with a front kick. But still what you've got is you've still got the template of the double action here, the backhand action here, and then the kick. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to Anyo number 8. I'm going backwards just because you can find the first 5 Anyos very easily. It's performed by Professor Remy on YouTube and on all his videos and so forth. But 6, 7, and 8 were never committed to film by Professor Remy. So I'm going to start off with 8, and how I'm going to show them is I'm going to show how I teach them in their individual sections. And these sections are arbitrarily set up and divided. Just makes it easier for me to teach. So onwards to Anyo number 8. Now we always begin each Anyo with the courtesy salute. So we start off here and then come to here. And section 1, I part my arms just a little bit. That opens for the front kick, coming down with the down block, and we have the 1-2 punch. This is followed by the same action on the opposite side. Front kick, down block, 1-2 punch. The third action is a combination hand sweep, foot sweep, followed by an oblique side kick, and then the down block and the 2 punch. Section 2 starts with stepping backwards, going with down block, inside forearm block, 1-2, followed by the same action on the other side, down, inside, 1-2. Then the third action of this section, you've got your upward X, Your arms will open up, so you go wrist to wrist. As you twirl it over to a cross position just like this. And as you do this, you step backwards, and this hand draws back, this hand pushes down. So you've got your 1, 2, X, and press it down in this fashion. Section 3 consists of 2 moves, and you have your parry, and you have either your upward palm or your upward knife hand strike, and it is pretty much as though you're parrying the punch, you're sliding inside the arm, and you're going whack this way. So you've got this down action, step in, 1, and then you follow up, step in, 2. Now, section 4 starts with an umbrella done with an empty hand as you step back, and you follow with a knife hand strike. This is replicated on the other side. You step back, umbrella, knife hand strike. Section 5 is the most confusing part of this, and I'm going to go ahead and break it down into first the hands and then the arms. So the left hand circles down and around, and you'll recognize the empty hand motion once you connect this up with the spiraling head throw. But you've got your circle, and this hand comes out this way, so that what you've got is like you're parrying the punch, and then you're pitching the person in the spiraling head throw. But you've got circle, and I just withdraw this back here just to clear the way for this arm, and then it inserts as it passes the arm in this fashion. So this starts here, around, and like this. Now, this is your end position for the footwork. Now, the footwork, you go cross, this comes up, and this goes side kick. And the manner in which I do the side kick, I do a down stomp side kick, much like the Goju-ryu Kansetsu-geri. So you've got your cross, up, and bang. So when we're here, you'll notice that by about this point, when my hand gets up to here, is when I've got my cross, you see. Up, my hands will finish out, and then bang with the side kick. Now, from this point, you step down left, step, cross, and you've got the same thing on the other side where you've got your side kick, cross over, and step back to finish. So, the legs, you've got this cross behind step, bang, kick, cross over, right step, cross behind, bang this way, cross over, and end. The arm action from this position actually is less confusing because all you have to do is switch positions of the arms, bang like this. You've got this one behind the head, you get this one parrying the arm. You just be parrying the arm and sticking behind the head this way. So coordinating that action, you've got up here, bang, step, step, switch the arms behind, and then down. And Professor Remy, he usually finished every form with this type of a flourish. And then from that point, courtesy. So if we put section 5 together all in one flowing action, what you've got is Hi, Professor Dan Anderson here, and I'm going to be demonstrating Modern Arnis Empty Hand Anyo, number 7. This is a second in a series of putting onto video the Modern Arnis Anyos that never made it onto a Remy Presas video. He shot the Empty Hand Anyos 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then he taught 6, 7, and 8, but they never made it to any videos that I know of. So what I'm doing is I'm just going ahead and put these out for all of you to watch and go by. And as I said in the Modern Arnis Anyo 8, that these Anyos are templates. And so what you're going to be seeing is you're going to be seeing Kempo people doing it much more in a Kempo vein, or Taekwondo people in a Taekwondo vein, karate people in a karate vein, Tai Chi people or Kung Fu people, smoother, more relaxed in that kind of vein, and so forth. So what you'll be seeing is you'll be seeing the template, and I've got a couple of spots where I will delineate exactly how Professor Remy taught me the form and then how I actually do it in my school. So there's the first thing. Now, the second thing, and I didn't bring this up in the Anyo 8, but the empty hand Anyos seem to be an American, or I should say a North American phenomenon. He taught the Anyos 1, 2, 3, 4 as far as cane goes back in the Philippines, and they're outlined in his first book. But empty hand Anyos, nobody in the Philippines knows them, nobody in Europe knows them. They're basically taught in the States. So it's my proposition that as part of his outreach system, which he called the art within your art, he knew that many people trained in kata, whether Japanese kata or Chinese sets or Taekwondo hyungs or pumse. And this is something that related to a lot of the students who cross-trained in other martial arts and then trained with him in Modern Arnis. So, it's my proposition that he came up with these empty hand Anyos as something, as a tool, as a via to reach more people in the martial arts. So that being said, I'm going to go on to delineate how I teach Modern Arnis Anyo number 7, empty hand, and I will be doing the same things I did in my video of Modern Arnis Anyo number 8, which is teaching him in sections. Every Anyo begins with a courtesy, and then the first action, or I should say the first section, I'm going to go ahead and show how Professor Remy taught me, and then I'm going to show you what I do as a slight variation. And so the first thing is the hands come to the left side of your body. Right palm is down, left palm is up. You step out to your right, and you do a double upward action in this fashion. You'll see this in Shotokan Karate, kata, hand, nidan, and so forth. From this point, you'd slide up, you'd set yourself up for a back fist, which recoils, and then you've got your side kick and you set down. Now when you set down, your hands come to the right side of your body, palm facing, left palm facing down, right palm facing up, and you come out and you execute the same motion on the opposite side, and from here, right foot draws up, you've got your back fist, and at this point, you'll do 2 kicks. You'll do the side kick and then a front kick going forwards. And from here, we have a down X and then an up X. Now, I come from a karate background, so after the courtesy, what you'll find me doing is, again, the very first action from here, but at this point, I will roll forward with my back foot and execute a hammer strike. And you'll find this in more of the Okinawan versions of Pinan, Nidan, and so forth. From this point is a front kick, and I set down, bring my arms to the same side again, come up in this fashion, and come up with my foot, up into a cat stance, front kick, and then when I come down, for the low X, I will fist and then come empty-handed for the up X. So rolling through section 1, the way I was taught, you'd have courtesy, and then this position, this hand will sweep just totally sideways as you're doing your spin while the other hand retracts. So what we've got is, now from this point, the right hand is going to sweep over and down while the left hand will thrust with an open hand over the top. And you've got to step forward as you do this. From this point, the rear elbow comes forward. And when I do the rear elbow, I don't just slap my arm. I actually do a bit of rotation here so I can get some juice into it. So you're in this position, bang. And then from this point, what you're going to do is, and I'll show you just first the arm action, what Professor Remy did, which was the left arm is going to go down, thumb forward, right arm is going to go up, thumb backwards this way. So basically you're making contact with the back of the arms. So what you've got is you've got one, and then you reverse it. So you circle in and you go down in this fashion. So what you've got arm-wise, you've got your elbow, and then you've got 1, 2, just like this. Now to add the legs, the rear leg is going to again do a circle step, except you're going to end up facing this way. So you got your step, feet are together, body is facing this way while you're executing your arms. So doing the last part of the first action of that segment, you've got bang, spin, and then right arm up, left arm, bang, just like that. And your arms will actually go 1, 2. Now, coming from a karate background, as opposed to going with the back of the arms this way, I go tighter with my palm facing towards me, this palm facing towards me in this fashion, here and here. And what you'll do is you'll find that in Shotokan karate, Heian Sandan, Shorin Pinan Sandan, in the system that I was originally trained in, Kung Su, Pyongan 3 or Pyongan Samdan. But from here, you've got the spin, and I'm closer and tighter in this fashion. Now I've turned myself to the opposite side just so I can delineate this action much cleaner. First, the left hand is going to open up and it's going to sweep out sideways in this fashion while the right hand pulls back to the waist. At the same time, I'm going to be stepping forwards in this direction to my left side. So you've got here, and then you have a follow-up punch. From this point, you'll pull the front leg back into a foot sweep, go low with a side kick, a front kick in that direction. But instead of setting down as you did in the first segment, you'll set down next to your foot and you'll step out with your right foot, see? So we're in here. So from this point, you've got here, bang, bang, putting the foot right next to your foot, going forwards, down, and up. And of course, the manner in which I do it, I go fist low, empty hand high. From this point, I replicate the same action that I did on the other side. So left hand's gonna open up, left side steps. You've got your sweep here. You've got your right leg that's gonna step forward while the left hand parries down, and you thrust forward with your right. And then from here you have your elbow strike and your rear circle step. Left comes up high first, then right, or in the fashion in which I do it, get the circle step, and you've got your inside and outside forearm block action. Now I'm facing the direction in which I would normally end up in, and from this point, I'll step behind, my right arm sweeps, and I have my punch, and then I've got my leg sweep with the side kick, front kick. From this point, You will come up into a high block and follow with an uppercut. So you've got this bang, bang, and then you take a left foot step forward, up, and from this point, you reach up, both hands, slam down to the knee, and you're done. Hi, Professor Dan Anderson here, and this is the third in a series of what I consider to be the undocumented by Remy Presas Empty Hand Anyos. I've already done Empty Hand Anyo number 8, Empty Hand Anyo number 7, and now we'll proceed to Empty Hand Anyo number 6. We start off with a courtesy, and first action is a step forward with the standard parry, capture, counter strike action of Modern Arnis. And from this point, it goes down into a low hammer fist. So your first action would be, and then at the end of the low hammer fist, the hand retracts 1, 2 with the punch. So, done together, from this point, you step back with your left, parry high with your right, parry low with your right, come up and do a push or a check, and then follow through with 2 punches. From this point, you come up, and what I do is I do an open hand, double hand outward this way. A lot of people will come up and do block, but the Danism on this is that this replicates actually an empty hand umbrella in which you could capture after a parry one hand or the other. So as opposed to doing this, I will do this. So basically section 1 would look like this. Section 2 starts off with a left leg front kick, setting down, and then there's the crossing behind with your right foot while you execute a hammer fist strike. From this point, you step away, and you've got your inside forearm block. Step again, inside forearm block. So putting that section together, it would look like this. From this point, you execute 2 stepping punches, and if you do it karate fashion, you could step in, bang and stop, step in, bang and stop. Or you could do it in a flowing action. You could go 1, 2, and then from this point, you've got your left foot, steps behind your right, a low hammer, and then from this point, you'll actually follow up with a back kick or a side kick, your choice. And when you set down, you'll execute the knife hand block. This next series of empty hand actions replicates what you do in Cane Anyo number 2, where when you step up and you hit, you twirl this around and turn your back and come down this way. And from the side view, up, twirl, and come down. It turns into being like this. You've got this hand that circles out, and you step up. Notice how I step my foot pretty much right in front of my other foot. This curls around over my head, and I back step into a forward step, and my hand comes down this way. Showing that from a side view for clarity, I've got up and down just like that. Now from original facing view, I'm heading towards 6 o'clock, and then I turn, I face towards 12 o'clock. We have up, down just like this. My next action, I'm going to go forwards, but my back step is going to be a 90-degree angle towards my left. So my left hand comes out, it comes up, and I circle, and I'm out this way. Now my last action, I do with my right hand. I step forward, I come up, I circle, but now I step back at a 45-degree angle, and I go 1, and then I follow it up with a grasp and a press. From this point, 1 closes the form. So if we put those actions together, we have first action, second action, third action. Close, courtesy.